welcome everyone. My name is Jeff Hutcheson. I am the Director of Advocacy and Public Policy for TESOL International Association. We are a global association supporting English language teaching and the multilingual learners of English that the educators all over the world are serving each and every day. Well, today I have the honor and privilege of being with the Teacher of the Year. So I just go ahead and start here, Missy, and just congratulations to you on the honor bestowed upon you by the Chief State School Officers that you have been named the 2024 Teacher of the Year. Ms. Missy Testerman, thank you. Very good to have you here with us today. We just wanted to get to know you a little better, just some about what you're doing. Part of the reason that we're having this conversation, not only is it that you're Teacher of the Year, but because we are TESOL International Association, it's a special connection to us because we know that you are serving over in Northeast Tennessee as an ESL instructor there, and I believe a program director too, if I remember correctly from some of your bios.
Yes,
that's great. So it's wonderful to have you today. So I know, let's just go ahead and jump in. I can imagine this past month has been a whirlwind for you. I've had opportunity to see some of the interviews. You've been up to New York City, interviewed on CBS this morning. And we'll get to another special thing you had to do in just a minute. But give us a little bit. How does it feel here to receive this honor and all of a sudden have this recognition, not just in Tennessee, but across the U.S.?
Jeff, it's just the most amazing feeling. As you know, we have teachers, all over this country teaching all of our children, including our English language learners out there just doing a phenomenal job every single day. And so when I stop to think that this is my opportunity to advocate for them and their students, it's overwhelming at times in a good way. It's just such an incredible honor. And I appreciate CCSSO and the selection committee for this opportunity.
Well, that's wonderful. And I know you've got a lot ahead of you, but I want to go back just a little bit with that whirlwind. I referenced a minute ago that you had an interview at CBS this morning. I'm assuming that was in their studios in New York City, and you had a special guest that came by. Well, tell us about that special guest and what was it like to meet this special guest? For those of you, especially for those who don't know and haven't watched that video, please let us know who that special guest was.
Well, during they cut to commercial, and during the break, they brought another chair out. Gail had said there was a surprise. And so I had no idea what the surprise was. And during the commercial break, they actually brought another chair and another cup out. So then I knew it was a person. But my mind was going crazy. I was thinking, we have students from Rogersville City School who are in New York City now in college or, living their life. And so I was thinking, if they bring a kid out here or a student, because when I say kids, once you teach, they're always your kid, even if they're 30. But I was thinking, if they bring a student out here, there's going to be no way I can keep this together. I never considered that it might be the First Lady, but it was Dr. Jill Biden. And so I actually, they played the trumpeting top thing, or Gail said that they needed trumpets. And whenever I saw her coming, it was just the most incredible feeling, just that she would take time from her busy schedule to come and be there just meant so much. As you know, she is the First Lady in the first lady in American history to actually hold a full-time job in addition to being the First Lady. And she's also a teacher, but I was so honored that she would come and be there for the announcement.
Well, I tell you what, that was quite the surprise. And I can't even imagine being in your shoes, having the opportunity to meet the First Lady like that. And I believe upcoming, they have a state dinner for Teachers of the Year coming up as well. So congratulations. You may get to meet a few more.
Yeah, that's very exciting. She actually announced that that morning on the CBS show that there would be a state dinner. And so all of the members of our cohort, our State Teachers of the Year cohort for this year are so excited. There's just like an incredible fever pitch around getting to have dinner at the White House. That's something most of us never saw as something that would happen to us as adults.
Yeah, that is amazing. So, well, congratulations on that upcoming opportunity. But just overall, just what is what has transpired in your life in this time here in your career. So kudos to you. I went back. I will go back a minute. I introduced myself. My advocacy is in my title, and one of the key things I love about advocacy is there's always a story. When you're bringing that forward, it's a story of where you came from, story of what you're doing, and I know that here with the platform that you have now, you probably have a lot of people that will be looking, and especially younger people going and working their way maybe in through high school and on into the college as they go through. They may make the decision to become a teacher, and I know everybody starts somewhere, and so you have an opportunity right now. You may be the inspiration for those coming up, but I would love to hear what was your inspiration. How did you start your journey, your story as an educator?
I think, and I said this on the CBS morning show as well, I think that the moment that I met Mrs. Brown, who was my kindergarten teacher, from then on, I wanted to be a teacher. Occasionally, other ideas would enter my head, but I had such phenomenal teachers growing up. I had so many good role models of
Mm,
what good teaching should look like, that I just always knew that was what I wanted to do, that I wanted to teach.
mm. That is great. Well, I don't know. We're going to come to it a little bit, but I be thinking about the message that you would leave for others that are making that decision. Do I go into teaching or do I not go into teaching? I'll just plant that little seed for a little later as we move forward and wrap up. But I want to go back just a moment. Here you are, thrust on the national stage from Rogersville, Tennessee. Now Rogersville, Tennessee, is that one of the largest cities in Tennessee? Is that how that works?
No, not quite.
Not
Um,
quite.
Rogersville is a small town of about 4,500 people. We are exactly halfway between Knoxville and Bristol. If you start on Highway 11W in Knoxville and you keep driving straight toward Bristol, you will go right through us and never know that you that you were here.
Oh, baby. Well, that's amazing that here you are now on this large platform from what essentially is a small rural town. But one thing that really intrigues me is that you are right now focused on ESL, English as a second language. And when I think of English learners throughout the country, Rogersville, small little rural communities don't always come to mind first. So tell us a little bit about what that's been like to be working with English language learners, how it fits in the community. Because I know one of the things that you really strive for in your work is the inclusivity, making sure that the diversity that people have and are exposed to, that people learn and understand and grow from that. And here you have, if I remember correctly, a nice little community of English learners and their families there. So tell us a little bit about that and some of the projects that you've been working on.
Well, we have currently we have 21 English language learners in my school of around 650 kids. So that's a pretty large percentage considering, how small my school is. And my school is a pre-K through 8 school.
Okay.
So once our students come in, if they come in pre-K and they stay the whole time, we get to actually keep them for 10 years and watch them grow. But I have 5 different language backgrounds. They're from all over the world, and they speak 2 languages. Some of them speak 3 languages. Tennessee still uses the term ESL, but for many of my students, that's a misnomer because English is not their second language. It is actually their third language. And when you consider that less than 20% of the American population is able to fluently speak a language in addition to English, it's amazing to think my students are in elementary school and they can already do that. But our community, by and large, embraces our population. And a lot of that is due to the real close nature of our school. They have a very loving environment that they're in. That's not to say that things are perfect, because they're not. And occasionally we have some unpleasant things. But one of the benefits of being in a school the size of mine is that I know every single kid in the school. I probably know the name of every single child in our school. And I've either taught them or taught their parents. So when we have those things come up, a lot of times we're able to take care of those and stop that kind of negativity before it starts. But one of the things that I had done while I was still in the general classroom was we completely, my colleagues and I completely did our curriculum.
Okay.
And we focused on people of diverse backgrounds and biographies. And at the end of the year, kind of the culmination of this was that we had something called the American History Wax Museum. And that's actually still a big thing even now. It is kind of like the premier event for Rogersville City Schools second grade, and literally hundreds of people will show up, parents, grandparents, neighbors,
Wow.
friends. But our students are able to pick a famous American that they have studied about, and they do a little research project, and then they actually dress up as that person and
Okay.
present their project just like it were a wax museum. So it's a big deal. And I think that does contribute to the inclusivity that, people at the end of the day are all the same. We all have needs, we all have wants, we all want to belong.
Yeah. Well, that's great. When you first said wax museum, the first thought that came to mind was Madame Trousseau, and I was like, well, she's that's something else.
Well, I will be honest, that is where the idea came from. My daughter and I had been to New York City and had actually gone into one of those. And so I was like, that would be really cool to let the kids do that. So that was actually the motive, or I guess the inspiration
The
for that.
inspiration. Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great. Well, I tell you, I'm going to put that on my calendar. I think that's something I do. I didn't mention it beforehand, but I'm from Tennessee, so sometimes I will make my way across the state there, and I love to coincide, maybe come and visit. I think that would be a great thing
That
to.
that would be fabulous. I have 4 English language learners in second grade this year, so
Oh,
that would be fantastic. They would feel
uh,
like celebrities.
I may talk with you a little later, find
Okay.
out when that is. Put that
Yes,
on my calendar, make that work. Oh,
that
wait.
sounds great.
Oh, well, I know your time is precious, and I just want to go back a little bit to the award, because I know that this recognition is not just, oh, you get your little plaque, you get to have interviews, and life goes on. There's some responsibility with this award, and I think if I remember correctly, one of the key things is your role as a spokesperson going forward, at least for the coming year, and I'm sure knowing what your career has done, it will be beyond just this year, to advocate for fellow educators, to advocate for students. What can you tell me a little bit, or tell us a little bit about what that message will be for you, what your focus is going forward, not just, especially with the recognition of the award, but what you see long term.
Thank you. I would like to use my year of service to encourage teachers, to empower teachers to be advocates for themselves, their career, and most importantly, our students. I think for a long time, the narrative was that teachers didn't need to get involved in policy or politics. We just needed to close our doors and teach. But the reality is that everything we do is tied to policy, whether it's at the
Mm,
local level, the federal level, the state level. And if teachers are the experts, they are the ones who are in the classrooms every single day, and they are the only ones that can share the triumphs that go on. They're also the only ones who can share the challenges and what they need, the resources that they need to overcome those. So I hope to use my year of service to encourage teachers to always be advocates for the teaching profession and for our students.
well, within that, as we as an association are focused on English language teaching, we're focused on multilingual learners of English, and that is a phrase that we do like to use. It does highlight the fact that they do have other languages, and lot of times they're a step ahead of us. You
Yes.
referenced the 20%, which is very low as far as Americans having multiple languages there. But as we look forward, what would be a message that you would leave with and encourage not just our members, but those that associate with TESOL International, whatever level they are, what would be a message that you would like to leave for us?
My greatest message would be that, especially in terms of teachers involved in the multilingual world like I am, is that it's so important that we send the message to everyone that having more than one language is a superpower. It's an advantage, it's not a detriment. And, and especially in a global economy and in a global workforce, if you can maintain more than one language, you're going to have a leg up on any competitor for any job just by virtue of that. And so it's real important that we encourage students not just to learn English and to learn English well, but to also maintain that home language as well. I think a lot of times there's a tendency, it's like, well, they don't need their home language. They will always need their home language. It's what ties them to their family and their heritage. And also it gives them a power that most people do not have.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I hope you continue to carry that message going forward, not just in this year of service that you have, but even beyond. And I got a feeling you will be doing that. So now lastly, I do want to go back. I planted that seed a little bit earlier. So I'll go back to that. I didn't want to just spring that question on you. So as you go through this year, you're going to have not just fellow teachers that are looking up to you, but you're going to have people that say, "Hey, do I want to become a teacher?" Or maybe haven't even thought of it before. So to that individual out there that if you had the opportunity to be the Mrs. Brown to someone, what would you say to them?
There is so much joy in education. Just the fact that you get to be the person that unlocks the love of learning, and you get to be the person that sees that light go on. That's something that doesn't happen in every single job. And despite all of the challenges that are associated with teaching in present day America, the joys still outnumber the challenges. And if, no matter your age, whether you're in high school, you're in college, or whether you're 40 years old and you know that the job that you're doing right now is not sustainable emotionally or mentally for you, I would encourage anyone, if they're thinking that they want to teach, then they probably do want to teach, and it's worth pursuing. I would never go back and change anything in my own career, and I've done this for 32 years, and if I could go back, I would do this again and again and again.
Well, I had the fortune of watching that interview on CBS, and they had done that video collage of a lot of your former students, and anybody who watches that gets through without a tear in their eye. I don't know how they did it. So I think that right there is a testament to what you just said about the joy of teaching. Well, Missy, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I wish you, TESOL wishes you, all of us everywhere wish you all the best, especially in this year of service that you're doing, but even as you continue to go forward and the growth that you're having and the impact that you will have had, I should say, and will continue to have on generations to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me on today. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. TESOL people will always be my people.
All right. I love it. I love it.